Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fifth session of Amal Stories Alumni Connect series. I'm Adnan Tariq, and I'm glad to be here with you again as your host. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces, as well as some new ones, joining us to celebrate and learn from the incredible journeys of Amal alumni. Today's session is special because we have a unique blend of disciplines in our guest story. We are honored to have with us a CSS graduate who originally comes from an engineering background. This combination promises to give us fascinating insights into how diverse skills and experiences can come together to create a remarkable career path. In today's session, we'll explore our guest journey in depth, looking at the key moments that shaped their path, the obstacles that they overcame, and the insights that they gained. We also discuss how engineering background has impacted their work in CSS and what are their future aspirations. So without a further ado, let's welcome our inspiring guest, Naila Nazar. Thank you so much for joining us. And to start, could you please tell us a bit about yourself, about your background, and what led you to your transition from engineering to CSS?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm humbled that you guys that I was invited by Amal Academy to have a talk with you all. As Adnan have already introduced me, my name is Naila Nazar, and I have done electrical engineering from UET Lahore. After that, I did my master's in industrial engineering and management with gold medal. I'm black belt in karate and taekwondo. I did that training uh, during my studies in UET. Uh, after being done with the studies, I started working with Automate Pakistan as an automation engineer, uh, precisely because I wanted to explore what engineering or private sector can offer and the skills that were basically being taught and the experience that you get while working in the private sector.
Hmm.
Working with Automate Pakistan for 1 year, after working with Automate, I joined Descon as energy system specialist because I had designed the product that is energy audits in Automate Pakistan. That was the product that I undertook in my research while I was doing my master's. So, I combined whatever I was learning in my master's and whatever I was experiencing during my private work in private sector. So both of these experiences, they helped me come up with something that was very value to the private sector and to our engineering sector. When I was done with my master's in 2019, and at that time I was working with Descon, I decided that this is the moment that I should go for CSS, because doing CSS was always the first priority. I went to work in private sector just to gain experience so that I'm better equipped and more experience to work for the good of the public. And you all know that CSS is a roadmap where CSS is a basically gateway where you can serve people with whatever you have learned or whatever you have gained through all of your study or through all of your experience throughout your life. So in 2020, I appeared for CSS. That was my first attempt. I resigned from Descon in August. It took me 4 to 5 months to prepare for CSS. I won't say that it was easy because for a person who has 18 years of education and almost 2+ years of private working in private sector, where you have to work uh, around the clock, like you are always on your foot. 5 to 6, 4 to 5 or 5 to 6 months, I was grinding throughout the day and night. I was working throughout the day and night. So this is the myth, or there is this myth as well related to CSS, that people cannot do CSS in 4 to 5 months or even 3 to 4 months. But it entirely depends on your academic background, on your personal skill set, on your own mindset. So it varies from person to person, the time period that is going to be required for doing CSS. Uh, we will, go into the details of how to prepare for CSS and what subjects should be taken. That was the brief introduction that I wanted to, give about myself.
Thank you so much, Naila, and this is truly inspiring. So let's dive into our discussion. Like you mentioned that CSS opens is a gateway for a lot of opportunities, right? So we would really
Yeah.
love to know that what opportunities did it open to you? And Where are you right now, and what does your role and responsibilities look like?
So after being allocated in information group through CSS 2020, I am currently working in Peshawar in Press Information Department of Peshawar, KP government, as information officer in Regional Information Office. There are, for the general information, there are 12 groups in CSS, ranging from Pakistan Administrative Service, Pakistan Police Service, we have Foreign Service, then there is Inland Revenue Service. There are 12 groups, and the information is given on the website of Federal Public Service Commission. So when I completed my training, I was basically part of 49th Common. And after your CTP Common Training Program, that is of 6 to 7 months, you have to go through specialized training program, that is the STP, where you are basically being trained in your own group, in which you have been allocated. So after completing my CTP and STP, I was the first appointment was with Food Ministry of National Food Security and Research, where I worked with Tariq Bashir Chima Saab. Then my second appointment was with Special Investment Facilitation Council, that is SIFC. Then the word is being very given very hype these days. I was appointed as a PRO to SIFC in Prime Minister Office, and this is my third posting, where I am currently working in Peshawar as information officer. So talking about the opportunities that CSS gives gives a person or a girl or boy, the opportunities are, the first thing is that you get to serve your country. The first thing, which is the most important thing. And secondly, through CSS, you are going to have that platform where you actually where you will have the ability and you will have the resources to actually materialize whatever vision you have, whatever dreams you have, for the sake of the country and for the sake of yourself as well, in positive sense. And thirdly, for females, talking from the perspective of a female, and we know that in Pakistan, we see increasing women empowerment. This is the best way for a woman to get empowered, because state is going to be behind you, state is going to be protecting you, state is going to be standing with you. So it is going to give you stability, whether it is a boy or a girl. Career mein stability bahut zyada hai. Secondly, there is career progression. You have your whole life, and you can get appointed as a secretary if you work hard and if you're able enough to go for that, to dream for that. And thirdly, you're going to be leading the departments that are shaping our country, shaping the future of our country. So you are going to be one of those who are responsible for the good of this country, whether it is good or bad. These people are responsible for the future of our country. So if you go for CSS, you are going to be one of those people who are leading the direction in which Pakistan is going. So I believe that only this thing is very important.
Really happy to know about the fact that at least you have this opportunity where you can play your part in shaping the future of Pakistan, and I'm really glad about the fact about the support that you have and how well you are utilizing it. So talking about your position, like you're working in as a regional information officer in KPK, right? So Naila would love to know that what is that one thing that you really love, enjoy about your position, about your current role?
Well, it is before joining civil service and before joining information group, I had no idea about how government works, about how the flow of information works. I am part of a department where actually I am the one who is communicating the policies, who is communicating the steps that the current government is taking, and the information. This information is very important, that is being shared, disseminated among the public, and it is like kind of empowering our public in the sense that they are knowing what the government is doing for them, and also I am acting as a bridge between government and people, where I am the one who is responsible for sharing the information, for sharing the good that is being done for the people, and for keeping them updated about whatever projects are being undertaken, and about the updates on different projects. basically it has connected me with it has given me the insight into the government framework where I know how things are being done and how they can be utilized for the sake of the country.
Right. So again, that's very interesting. You are acting as a bridge between the state and the people and relaying the information as necessary. So let's take a step forward and go back in time and talk about your CSS journey and your transitioning from engineering into CSS. Like, a lot of our audience is coming from are basically Amal graduates, and they are transitioning into new roles or looking forward to transition into some different fields. So we would really like to know about your transition from engineering. Like we can also do some myth busting like you did earlier for CSS, like some jobs related to engineering. How were you able to secure the positions in Descon and then as an automation engineer as well that you mentioned earlier? And then about your transitioning from engineering to CSS, what was it like?
So I'll start with my first job, how I landed in Automate Pakistan. After graduation from UET, another myth. I'll start with the number one and the most fearful myth that students are most fearful of. That is, if you have CGPA lower than 3, my CGPA was around 70%, and I was like, I'm not going to get any job. But this is not the thing in private sector. This is not the thing in engineering. That is the plus point, because when I gave this, basically Automate Pakistan, that was my first interview. So when I was giving the interview, the CEO asked me that why should we hire you? Because you are a newbie, you don't have any skills, you have shown that you are not a very hardworking person because you have a very poor CGPA. Then I told him that, sir, I had good conceptual understanding of the concepts. I had good understanding, but I'm not a person who is more into rote learning. That was the reason why I had poor CGPA. I understood that. And secondly, because I had multiple activities that I was participating in while my stay in UET. I was participating in my sports. I had a black belt there. Then I was participating in inter-university competitions as well, and then I was co-chair of IEEE as well. Power, I was leading a society as well. So, he had a picture that this person, she has understanding of the concepts of her degree. Secondly, she can lead because she has been participating in sports and she has been leading a society before joining private sector. So when he asked me that why we should give you a chance, I told him these qualities, and then I said that, sir, let me work for 3 to 4 months, and if I don't prove myself, you can let me go. I'll apply somewhere else. And that was the thing. He said you can start tomorrow, and I worked there for 1.5 years. They were not ready to accept my resign, but because I wanted to grow, and although there are certain other reasons as well, I loved working there. And then how I got a job at Descon? There is another myth as well that engineers after graduating they expect a salary of 70 plus 70,000, more than 70,000, without any skills, without learning the ground realities, ground skills that are required in the engineering sector. This is you can get those jobs in a corporate sector in MNCs like Nestle, Unilever, but they are very limited. There is a limited number of people who can get into those jobs, and those number of people are only 10% of the engineers. What about the rest of 70% or 80%? What they have to do is they have to join. They just have to enter into the private sector, learn and get good skills, get hands-on experience in the industry, learn how things are being done there. So you have experience to grow in the private sector. When I was working with Automate Pakistan, I was giving my best. I was learning each and everything, whatever skill I could get. I did my best to master it 100%. And that was the reason why Descon approached me, and they said that we want to introduce energy audits in through Descon's platform, and we want that you should come here and give trainings and also conduct projects. So for the first 2 to 3 years, you have to work on yourself. You have to work not only for yourself, you have to work for the employer as well. But after 1 to 2 years, when you have the enough skills that are required in your specific engineering sector, if you're an electrical engineer, there is no shortage of jobs. Uh, all of the Pakistan, I think that there was only 2 to 3% of Pakistan is at the moment automated. And we are moving to a digital era where everything is going to be automated. Automated as in we are going to employ automation in everything, now, where machines will be doing everything. So electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, computer engineers, there is a lot of potential for them. There are going to be thousands of jobs for them. But the problem is the skills that are required by the industry, our graduates, they do not have those skills. So either you go for doing certain certifications, you get those skills by the academies or by the organizations who can give you training on PLCs, who can give you training on SCADA, who can give you training on different skills related to your job sector. Acquire those skills either by either by doing a job that is a low salary or through any other certification. So there is no shortage of jobs. There is only shortage of skilled engineers. So improve your skills. This is the tip for the engineers who are going to start working this year or next year. Thirdly, as I was working with Descon, I realized that although I'm loving to explore things in engineering sector because I am a researcher by mindset, I'm a person who loves to learn new things. But then I realized that I am having no sense of service in Descon. I was feeling as if I was serving the employers, I was serving the owner of this company, and not serving the public. That was the point where the shift happened, where I switched from public sector to private sector. Oh, sorry, private sector to public sector. And then I just dropped whatever I was doing. I resigned from Descon. I was being offered from Nust as well, from other private companies as well. I was getting more than 2 lakh, getting offers of more than 2 lakh, more than 2.5 lakh. Because when you have skills, then the industry needs you. And another point, your interpersonal skills should be excellent. When I worked in private sector, I had contacts with all of my engineering fellows who were working in different companies. I was eagerly approaching CEOs. I was connecting with the managers of the factories. So don't hesitate. If you don't know anything, you can or interact with people with open mind. You can learn from them. Your ego should be at minimum when you are applying for jobs. Don't think that, yeah, I have done engineering and I have worked so hard throughout my life, why am I to approach the employers? No, this should not be the mindset. You should be open and eager to learn and approach people with respect, because they are going to help you in connecting with the opportunities that you need. So then let's talk about my preparation during CSS. If you guys are planning to go for CSS, two questions come into your mind. One is that should you go for CSS right after graduation or after getting some experience or working in private sector. I worked in private sector because I was not confident after graduating from UET. That was my personal reason, because I wanted to boost my morale. I went for gold medal in my masters. I had to, that was a psychological problem that I had, that I didn't work hard in UET. I have to prove myself. I worked hard in my masters, and then I went for CSS. That was a myth that I had. I could have worked that hard in CSS as well. So you can go for CSS right after your graduation. There is nothing stopping you. You can restart at any moment of your life. So if you want to go for CSS after graduation, go for it. But you should be having plan B. If I couldn't get into CSS, if I had failed CSS thrice, there are three choices that you have, 3 attempts. You can go for CSS for 3 years, 3 attempts. You can give 3 attempts. And if after 3 attempts you still can't get a government job, you should have a plan B. And you must know that there is going to be a lot of psychological burden. You will be facing disappointment. You will be carrying disappointments of your family, because when you are doing CSS, there are a lot of expectations from you. People start spreading the word that our kid is doing CSS. That thing is very dangerous. So always have a plan B. Stay ready that CS is very unpredictable. I have given a second attempt as well. And in my first attempt, I'll go into it later on. Always have a plan B. My second reason was was that I appeared after CSS because I wanted to have a backup plan, and I had two jobs ready right after right after I resigned from CSS, right after I resigned from Descon when I was preparing for CSS. I was satisfied. I was at peace that even if this thing doesn't go right, if this thing doesn't go well, I have a very secure career at my hand. So that was what I thought at that time. But if you're going for CSS, you have to give your 100%. Don't waste your time here and there. If you think that you are doing a job and you can do CSS in 4 to 5 months, then it is not possible. If you're doing a job, for the people who are doing a job and they want to do CSS, they should be giving at least 1 year, because you have to cover 12 subjects. There are 12 subjects in which there are 1200 marks out of written part, and then there are 300 which are reserved for your psychological your viva voice basically. So when I started preparation, the next thing that is the most important is you have to choose the subjects. Because subjects are very important. You should choose them according to your interest, according to your ability, and according to your time frame that you have. I went for political science, that is of 200 marks. Then I went for physics, again 200 marks. Then 100 marks of criminology, and then Punjabi, that is also of 100 marks. So total 600 marks you have to complete from compulsory optional subjects, and 600 marks are required from the compulsory part. That is your English essay, your Presi, your Islamiyat, general science and ability, current affairs, and Pakistan affairs. So when I started preparation, you have to get mentoring for essay paper, because essay without getting the right mentorship, you are not going to, get the right direction. Right direction is very important. Get in touch with the person who has passed the exam once or twice or even thrice. Uh, Ask them to tell you the right structure of the essay, that how they expect you to write the essay, English essay. That is the most important, because this is where screening is being done. Because every year more than 30,000 students apply, and only 2% are being given allocation. So to be one of those 2%, you have to be very to the point. You have to be very diligent. So get right mentorship, and don't go for academies, or if you can afford them, you should go for them, because they are charging massive amounts. So I won't say that everyone should go there, because there are people who can't afford it. So they're not mandatory, but if you can afford it, you can join them. But you can also get mentorship from any person who has been allocated into the CSS, who has been through the process. It is not that difficult. One thing I would like to mention, that people who have done FSC with good marks, they can clear CSS with flying colors. People who have done FSC with good marks, they can clear CSS with flying colors, because FSC, it is the same method. You have to prepare 12 books. Although the syllabus is open-ended, but there is a certain strategy that you have to follow, and that strategy is very similar to the preparation that you do for your medical exam or for your engineering exam. That's why there is more ratio of doctors and engineers in civil service, because they know how to crack this exam. They have been through the process in their very early age. So if you know how to crack FSC and secure more than 80% marks, you can get into the civil service very easily, if you can redo all of that hard work. Thirdly, if you are going for CSS and you have a certain time frame, make a timetable. Divide your load of 12 subjects into the very concrete concrete achievable milestones. For example, if you are doing Islamiyat at the moment, or if you are doing English Presi at the moment, you should download the syllabus from FPSC website and divide the subjects chapters into 15 days or into 20 days, given your time that you have during the day and your ability to understand and cram. CSS is both 50-50%, 50% cramming and 50% understanding. It helped me because I had engineering mindset. I solve problems. So I solved this CSS exam twice. I gave my first attempt in CSS 2020. I recently reappeared in CSS 2023. I have been qualified. I have qualified the exam, but I didn't get allocation because I opted only for the top 5 groups. And I'll go why I didn't get into my desired group in the details later on. So when you're preparing the subjects, strictly follow the timetable that you have made, because if you're not going to follow the timetable, you will not be able to appear in exam next year, because you will be preparing one subject in 4 months. And if one subject has taken 4 months to prepare, then you have 12 subjects to prepare. So be very strict with your timetable, follow it religiously, and get evaluation, proper evaluation from people who have been through this process. Get yourself evaluated and just work hard. This is the trick that you can follow. This is the only trick that is there. Work hard and get evaluated, and pray hard as well. Coming to my second attempt, in first attempt, I got my merit number was 175. In my second attempt, my merit number was around 145. It is around 7 to 8 groups higher than this group, but I'm preferring my group because apart from first two groups, they that is Pakistan Administrative Service and Pakistan Police Service. They are basically passion. If you have a passion to work for them, then you are going to be reappearing again and again. And if you just want to join civil service, and because every group is worth it, and it's just because that I have a passion for a certain group, so I'm availing the chances that I have. It is completely a personal choice. It is up to you. A lot of my batchmates, they just appeared once and they are happy with whatever they have, because they are into the service, they are into the government structure, and they are doing whatever they can from that platform. In my second attempt, I changed my subject, because in CSS written exam, few subjects are being targeted intentionally to shortlist candidates so that they have lesser burden to interview. So this is the thing that is entirely about luck and destiny, because if they're going to target political science, they're going to give you 100 marks out of 200 to every candidate, and they would be failing half of the candidates as well. This has nothing to do with your hard work. This is the thing in CSS, and it happens with a lot of candidates. It happened with me as well in my first attempt, because I opted for physics, and in physics paper 1 I have 70 marks, and in paper 2 I have 25 marks. And that is not logical, because I have a bachelor's degree in mathematics and physics. I have master's that is also related to physics and mathematics. So getting 25 marks doesn't make any sense. So the only logic that is behind this thing is that they shortlist candidates based on the saturation of the subject. If the subject is highly saturated, if everyone is opting physics, if everyone is opting political science, then they are going to put a bottleneck on that subject. A very few number of people are going to be passed in that subject. So make sure that you don't go for saturated subjects. Don't go for easy subjects. In my first attempt, it was physics that was targeted. It was criminology that was targeted. I got 40 out of 100, and the paper was very easy. I did whatever I could. The paper was, I was 100% satisfied when I was attempting the paper. But when the result came out, half of the candidates were failed, and I was the one who passed it, but with only 1 marks. Now I passed with 1. If I hadn't gained 41, that I would have been failed in criminology. So CS is very unpredictable, and it is also about your destiny as well. Where Allah Almighty wants you to work from the platform, certain platform, He is going to put you there. So just work hard, pray hard, and select the right subjects, get right mentorship, and follow the your timetable strictly.
Thank you so much, Naila, for elaborating it, talking comprehensively about the CSS subjects, the right mentorship, time management, and also even sharing the harsh realities of this particular field, particular niche. And obviously, saturated subjects require some research at the candidates end as well, that they have to look for the options that are more feasible. And I really like that you also shared some tips for the engineers as well, like like you are discouraging rote learning and diversifying the learning experiences through extracurricular activities as well by giving ourselves that exposure of extracurricular learning that helps us to build the skills and definitely leads to acquiring some experiences. So you know that I had a list of questions to ask you about some tips for CSS students, tips for engineering students, but you shared them regardless of me asking those questions. So I'm really happy about the fact. And I'm sure K, you also got that, provided yourself that opportunity to acquire the skills for yourself as well. And that is why you are here, right? So definitely, and with that, I would any final words, any final tips that you'd like to share, or any concluding remarks that you might have for our alumni from engineering background or from CSS background, then we'd love to hear from them. And after that, we'll wrap up the conversation.
Well, I would say that everything is possible. If you have dreams to become a very accomplished engineer, Pakistan has a lot of opportunities. I am not one of those people who have a very pessimistic outlook regarding Pakistan. And secondly, if you want to become an accomplished civil servant, then you should go for CSS and PMS. I forgot to mention provincial management services,
Mhm.
Punjab, Balochistan, Sindh, KP, and Gilgit-Baltistan. They all have provincial management service as well. That is a civil service at provincial level. So
Mhm.
every candidate has 6 chances to get into the civil service, be
Mhm.
at federal or provincial level. Do avail them if you have a passion. If you There are certain people who are well suited for stability, and there are certain people who are well suited for private sector. So it's your personal choice. If you want to excel in private sector, there is nothing is going to stop you. If you have the passion to learn,
Mhm.
if you don't have the passion to learn, and if you think that you are done learning with your bachelor's or with your master's degree, that is not the thing. You're not going to excel in this digital era, in this information age. In this age, you have to continuously unlearn and relearn. So that is the
Yeah.
thing that I would say that every one of you should write in bold letters in front of you, that you have to learn every day, relearn and restart. If you're not successful at one place, you are made for another situation, another goal or another environment. Explore those environments, be open-minded, and don't have a pessimistic outlook to your country. I have seen youth very disappointed, and they are disappointed because they are disappointed with themselves. Don't be disappointed with yourself and with your country, because if I have observed this thing in youth, that they think that going abroad, or if certain situations are being created for them, then they are going to be very lucky, and then only then they are going to excel. This is not the thing. The more hurdles you face, the more difficult situations you have to encounter in your life, the more wiser you are going to become. And that is a blessing that every candidate can have, because he or she has have had the opportunity to prove herself. So don't think that if there are certain difficulties in Pakistan, they are going to harm you. They're benefiting you because they are making you more resilient. They are making you more tougher mentally and physically. So
Mhm.
explore those opportunities, explore your own skill set, and use your skill set for the good of the people around you and for the good of the state. And have a strong faith in yourself and in Allah Almighty. Everyone have a destiny to fulfill. So explore their destiny and work for it.
Definitely,
That's
totally agree with you. Can't emphasize less on the power of positivity, optimism, appreciation, and that's really very super important. And thank you for sharing this important message, which is definitely uplifting for our youth. So with that, I'd like to thank you, Naila, for sharing your incredible journey with us today. And I'm sure your story has been truly inspiring and has given us a lot to think about and learn from. So to everyone who joined us today, it's always great to see a lot of enthusiasm and engagement from our community as well. And we are happy to, organize these discussion sessions for all of you guys. So, as we wrap up, let's remember to carry the insights that we have gained today into our own lives and careers. And a message for our audience that each session in this series brings us closer and help us to grow both professionally and personally. So, again, finally, thank you, Naila, for joining us today. And to our audience, like, stay tuned for our next session where we'll continue to share, celebrate the amazing journey of Amal alumni. And thank you once again. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
Tafis.